You're watching Leafs Morning Take with host Nick Alberga and former NHLer Jay Rosehill. The show starts now.
Well, mercifully, the month of October slate is over for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Nick Alberga, Jay Rosehill. It is Thursday, October 30th, the Thursday edition of Leafs Morning Take presented by Bet365. Be honest, Rosie, I wish I was in a better mood, but I guess the saving grace that the Toronto Blue Jays are one win away from a World Series. Pinch me, man. How are you?
Yeah, man, have mercy on the Leafs October once again, but totally agree. You flip channels and watch the Jays doing what they're doing once again. That was, again, like clockwork with just chipping away the runs. Great start, never relinquish the lead. Everyone's pulling their weight. You got an unknown kid that you didn't expect to be doing something big, doing big things. That's just what it takes to win championships, and they're not talking about it yet, but like you said, one win away. It's pretty exciting, and again, it's kind of nice that it can overshadow the Leafs' dog shit hockey performances this month.
People hate it when we try to tie in both franchises, but I think it's a fair conversation to have where it's you look at the embodiment of what it is to be a team. And I watch Toronto Blue Jays, dude. They're such a joy to watch. And every night it seems like it's somebody new. Like it's Davis Schneider leading off the game with a home run. Trey Yesavage, a rookie, 12 Ks in Game 5 of the World Series. And then you look at the Leafs for years, it's been the same guys game after game producing. Like we've always, wanted that Leafs team to have contributions up and down that lineup. And, maybe one night it's Scott Laughton, maybe another it's Willie Nylander, then it's Dakota Joshua. But that's the one thing I take away watching every Blue Jays game. You don't know who's going to step up, but you know somebody's going to step up. And it's everybody. Like you talk about a team from Brendan Little to Miles Straw to Trey Yesavage to Scherzer, to Bassett. Like it simply is incredible. You're not going to find this every year, but they got something cooking right now.
Yeah, they do. And, I don't claim to know baseball or the inner workings of a team or a clubhouse or anything like that, but they seem to do it for each other, like it's just one guy's licking his lips to do just something just for the boys, and there's guys on that team that have won World Series championships before, and they're still like, this is the closest team I've ever been a part of. Absolutely love these guys. Could not be having more fun out there. And that's what it is when everyone's doing that, when you find that chemistry and the formula, it's fun, and it's contagious, and it's momentum, and it's just one after another, and you just have faith and believe, and it just starts happening, and it's magic, and everyone's looking for it. It's not a lot different with hockey teams. When a team's clicking, it's magical, and the whole name of the game is trying to get your team to click. I'm certainly not seeing it with this Leafs team right now. That doesn't mean that it can't happen, but they don't seem on the same page right now, and that is the opposite of the Blue Jays. And I mean, we're going to tie it together because they're playing on the same night in the same town, same city. To it is what it is. You're going to mention them, so too bad. But it's they're two polar opposite teams right now, and they don't look the same when they're with their performance.
They just play for each other. And I think it just shows you too, it does not matter who is on a team. You don't have to have the best roster to be successful. I think the Blue Jays are a prime example of that. Like I wasn't kidding coming into this series. It was David versus Goliath. I know the job's not done. Never underestimate the heart of a champion. The Dodgers likely will push back. They got Yamamoto on the hill. I could see it easily going 7 games. But you can't fault the lack of character and just energy and team first mentality that we're seeing from this Blue Jays team. I've been blown away, man. Like on paper, you look at these two rosters, specifically 2, 3, and 4 in the LA order more times than not, or 1, 2, 3 with Ohtani, Betts, Freeman. Like we're talking about 3 guys who are destined for Cooperstown in the Hall of Fame. On top of that, Yamamoto, if this continues to trend the direction we all think it's going, he's going to the Hall. There's going to be a couple other guys that are probably right on the fringe of the Hall. What I'm telling you is it's a gross mismatch, but it's a perfect example of like, this is why they play the games. And again, I don't recall in recent memory outside of maybe Milwaukee this season, although they got steamrolled by the Dodgers, a team that plays like an actual team. It's honestly been a joy to watch. Again, the last one's the hardest one to get, but man, it's been awesome.
Yeah, it has. I don't claim to know the team inside out. Like in August, I didn't know a lot of these players, their bullpen, what guys are capable of, what their tendencies and strengths are. But it's just like every time you see like a new pitcher come in or a guy come to the dish or you're late in the order at a critical time, it's just like, nope, remember what he did here, remember what he did there, and they'll just do that one thing. They'll make that one play or turn a double or get that
Yeah.
last strikeout or just get on base or drive a guy home just at the right time. And it is awesome to watch. And that David Goliath mentality, maybe it's tough for the Dodgers to, access their best as, like you said, they're steamrolling really good teams. They won last year. Everyone and their dog had them picked to win
Hmm.
this. And a lot of people, even that do know the Jays, are like, well, at least they got to the World Series. And yeah, they're going to run into the Dodgers, but at least they got to the World Series. It's like, that sure as hell wasn't the mentality in that clubhouse, I'll tell you that. And they are in control of this series right now. I thought that game last night, game 5, was going to be critical. And I mean, I think the stats obviously show it too, but I thought whoever won that game was probably going to win the World Series. I think, I don't want to say that, but again, they're in the driver's seat, and if they keep doing what they're doing, they're going to win the World Series. It's just a matter of putting it on paper. But I would expect a big time performance out of a stud team like the Dodgers here tomorrow.
Yeah, it's just crazy to me. Like, it doesn't matter. Next man up. George Springer leaves the lineup. Okay, Babe Schneider leads off. Solo Jack, first pitch. Like, nothing seems to phase this team. Again, it's really, really impressive to watch. Our Super Chat charity partner is Sick Kids. Want to make sure that your question or comment gets on the show. Hit us up with a Super Chat. Proceeds from our Super Chat will go to Sick Kids, ranked the #1 research-intensive children's hospital in Canada and 3rd in the world. John Gallagher batting leadoff here in terms of Super Chats. Greetings, Leafs Nation friends. In case I don't live through the next 2 baseball games, please remember me fondly and tell Willie's sister I loved her. Okay, fair enough. John Gallagher, thank you so much for the Super Chat. Willie didn't play last night. We're going to get to that, of course. But I think from the Maple Leafs perspective, Rosie, they're in Philadelphia now. I know for a fact they flew from Columbus to Philly last night. A lot of soul searching, whether it's at Geno's or Pat's today, eating a cheesesteak sandwich. That's all I can say. Please.
Well, you got to do something, man. It's they are not playing together. They are disconnected and discombobulated, and it shows up. And to me, it's coming out of the D zone, the neutral zone. We are not on the same page, and it's honestly like I feel like the answers lie in the same stuff. I'm trying to instill on my U13 team. It's basic stuff. I mean, they're not supporting the puck. Like you need layers of support. Cut the ice in half. Center support, weak side support, drive the middle, push the D back. I mean, the opposition against the Leafs, you want them to be kind of scrambling to find the lane, to pick which guy, to try to figure out what the play is, and to be on their heels a little bit thinking defense. And instead they're on their toes ready to jump, and on the mistakes that are happening, they can see the holes, they can see the discombobulation, and they jump on it. And you want your opponent doing the opposite, thinking defense first, how do I protect, how do I defend, and they're thinking let's jump on it, let's attack. And that's not the mentality you want to give your opponent, but that's what they're giving them. It's one guy's facing the wrong freaking way in the ozone, going this way, going that way. There's no support. I can't even find some of the guys that need to be in certain positions because they're not even in the frame, and it's blowing up in their face. The biggest thing about the NHL to me, the difference I noticed is the transition game. When you don't have your bases covered and you're not supporting the puck properly, and you make those, it's not even a turnover yet, but you just don't have proper possession. God damn it, does it go the other way in such a hurry. And even teams like the Columbus Blue Jackets, they jump on those opportunities and it's in the back of your net. And yeah, I think, it is Craig Berube's job to sort this out and figure out, where the problems are, what the solutions are, and try to instill it on these guys. And obviously it's up to the players to, manufacture better outcomes and watch the game tape and see where the problems are and figure out how you got to those places. It's simple stuff that they're screwing up. And that might be the one saving grace, is that their problems are kind of easily rectified, to be honest. It's just pull your head out of the ass, play together, get back to the basics of supporting the puck properly, coming out with speed, and being more of an attack team rather than this discombobulated D-men are back there. No plays to be found, no support. airmailing it here and there and glassing out to a guy who's like stopped and going back, or it's just a disaster. You got to get back to basics and start playing the X's and O's, a lot cleaner. And I think it would solve a lot of problems, to be honest. So as frustrating as this is to watch, I feel like they could easily pull themselves out of it by pulling their heads out of their asses and just playing better positional hockey.
Put it this way, I'm the idiot that had the Maple Leafs game on the big screen last night. I had the Jays game on my laptop, okay? There's a reason why I really haven't mentioned the game in the first 11 minutes of this podcast. I want to see how long I can go before really digging into this thing. But Andy Petrillo's coming up in about 20 minutes from now. New book released, Just Call Me Andy, Sports Stories from a Trailblazer. She's coming up on that, of course, the Amazon Prime broadcast. Covered the Maple Leafs for many, many years. We're going to get her thoughts on this very rocky October for the Maple Leafs. Again, mercifully, it is over. It's finished. November starts on Saturday. They're playing Philadelphia, your former team, the Jay Rosehill Derby. Maybe Scotty Lotz is back. Maybe Tanev's back. So maybe some greener pastures next month. But I got some things to say about the month of October. That's for sure. At the Leafs Nation 401 on YouTube. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Leafs Morning Take wherever you find your podcast. Make sure to leave us a 5-star review. And don't forget to visit theleafsnation.com. Crave the Stats is a presentation of Uber Eats. Every time the Leafs play at home, you can get these exclusive deals only on Uber Eats. Firehouse Subs, BOGO Brisket Hat-Trick, Kibo Sushi, BOGO California Roll, Shelby Shawarma, BOGO Traditional Wrap. That's right. Buy one, get one before, during, and after the game. Uber Eats is assisting every fan's hockey experience all season long. So where do I want to start? Love sushi. So you would have to think us as podcasters are not the only one that know Columbus. Every time they play the Maple Leafs, they feed them their lunch. Like, I hope not. You would have to think for, I guess, that 12-hour period or whatever it was, the coaching staff's like, guys, we traditionally do not do well at Nationwide. This is a very difficult building, difficult team we play against. And that's the way they come out in that game. Absolutely caved in the first 10 minutes of that game, where it's like they look like they'd rather be anywhere else but in Columbus playing that hockey game. It was scary watching the start of that game, Rosie.
Yeah, and that's I'm not burning the boats and losing it, and we got to keep in mind that this is October, and the team that won the division last year had a dog shit October. So you got to keep that in mind. But as these performances mount and rack up, the thing that pisses me off is exactly that, their attitude. It just doesn't look like they're interested. And that's insane. Like if they're battling their bags off and they're getting emotional and fiery and trying new things, and there's some desperation out there to, refuse to have those performances, then you can kind of, get behind them a little bit and support them. But when honestly fucking podcasters care and seem to care, again, I'm always defending the fact that they care, but they're not showing it, and it doesn't translate on ice, and they don't look ready to go. And their reaction to horrendous plays and horrendous goals against and getting behind in a game and having dog shit performances and losing and playing again the very next night, their reactions to it, in my mind, are terrible. And no, I don't know what's going on in their heads, and I don't see them behind closed doors. But again, body language and facial expressions and their actions in that sense say a lot to me. And it's not saying any of the right things right now. And it's a bit of a piss off. I'm going to be honest. Like, it's frustrating. And I don't think there's any reason for it. That is the kind of stuff you are in 100% control of. So I know Craig Berube doesn't want to lose the room and doesn't want to get negative and all the rest of it. And he's usually pretty good at that. But like, are you going to lose your shit on these guys? Like, what do you do to rattle their cage and wake them up? I'm sure he's tried and thought of all kinds of things, but like, what's the next step here to wake these guys up? Because they're freaking sleeping.
I was weirdly fuming after that game. I'm still fired up. And I was so curious. I'm like, from a betting standpoint, is there a way I could take advantage of this? There is. 9 of the 11 games the Maple Leafs have played, I've hit the over easily. What did I say going into the game yesterday? Easy over. It hit. Columbus, dude, this statistic is insane to me. 5 of the last 7 games, they scored 5+ goals on the Maple Leafs. Make sense of that. And again, I'm with you. It's October, and you have to be resigned to that fact. If you cover the Maple Leafs, October is just going to be a dog shit month. And on top of that, I refuse to say and think that just one player leaving this roster makes this team shit. I can't buy that, okay? They brought in some good players. Mitch Marner is not that value. Like, there's not that much of a significant drop-off losing one player because they added good players, right? Like, that's the only significant loss off the team outside of, like, Holmberg. So I'm subscribed to the fact that they're going to figure this out. But the concerning part to me is the guys who are making the mistakes. If you watched the game last night, defensively, it reminds me of beer league hockey, which is concerning because it's 11 games in. But guys like Matthews, Tavares, Riley, OEL, blown coverage, turnovers, like mistakes that you can't have be made by your star players, your core players, and that's what's happening. Like that is concerning for me, Rosie.
Yeah, like they seem to be winging it all the time. Like breakouts, your neutral zone regroups, your entries, setting it up, the cycle. It's just all they're trying to figure it out on the fly. It looks like and I get these guys haven't all played together, and we were pretty cautious early on, saying, "Listen, this is going to take some while to figure out who they are and whatnot, and maybe this is what that is." I hope that it is, but they don't look like they know what they're doing beforehand. They look like they're figuring it out on the fly. And when you're playing against a team that's on their toes and taking away time and space, that's just a recipe for panic and just shoveling pucks in areas and guys having no options, being alone out there and just trying to scramble to make something out of nothing. And it's that over and over and over again. They get enough firepower to, find an opportunity and get a scoring chance, and they can put it in the back of the net. And they've won some games playing, pretty averagely, to be honest. And again, that's a good sign. I still think they're a pretty good team, but the way they're playing right now looks like they don't really have a strategy and they're winging it shift after shift. And again, I just think that's a strategy. You can see it to blow up in your face, and the plays and the exits and the entries, they blow up in their face all the time. And I mean, last year, we really didn't talk too much about odd man rushes, defensive breakdowns, gross opportunities against, and you're seeing it game after game. Like, we're going from one game to the next talking about 4-on-1s, 5-on-1s. I don't even know how. I do not know how that happens. I've never really seen it. And here we are day after day talking about these disgusting displays of breakdowns that are just not conducive to winning. So they need to sort their shit out from an X's and O's and an execution standpoint. And I don't really know what the theme is or where they're trying to get to, or if there's a system that's in place that they're trying to hammer out. I don't see it. Like, if you see them continually, trying to come out the weak side or a left wing lock or whatever, you could see them trying it and it's not working, but you can see them working on something. I don't know what they're trying to do. I don't know where the direction is, because again, it looks like they're just winging it each shift, and it is not leading to good hockey. That is for sure. You can see, we'll put it on the screen. I've never seen, like, how do you even get to a 5-on-1? I don't see it in U11, U13 hockey, to be honest with you. How the hell does it happen in the NHL?
Flying V. We saw the flying V in the NHL. Like, it's remarkable stuff. I don't know what it is about playing Columbus specifically. The Leafs just have a tough time in that building. And support us sick kids. Tammy, thank you so much for the super chat. I don't know what Berube needs to do to get these guys to wake up and stop playing beer league hockey. Maybe he needs to let them get some steam out by letting them smack each other around with their purses. All right.
And some of them have purses.
No comment. Cade Primo, where are you at with that? Again, this is a team game. We always talk about that. Collectively, they were dog shit outside of save a few players. Sammy Blais, 1-1 in his Leafs debut, I thought was really, really, really effective. Like, you look at a stat line from a fourth liner: 1 goal, 1 assist, 2 shots on goal, 5 hits, 1 block. It was his first NHL game since April 17th, 2024. So it's been a while. I thought there was a bit from that Joshua line with Cowan and Wall. Like there's some, JT scores number 500, which we'll get to, but on the Primo front, they gotta sit Joey Wall down and be like, how quickly can you be ready to play hockey for us? Because there was maybe 3 that I counted, maybe 4 of the 6 that have to be stopped. Like I got nightmares of Michael Hutchinson in a Maple Leafs uniform, or the laundry list of goaltenders that played for this franchise, including, the whatever. I mean, there's just so many guys that have played the last couple of years where it's like, crap. But yeah, where are you at on Primo? I think he has done his job. I think coming in, we all knew he was an AHL goalie, like a fringe guy. He's made a couple stops, but just last night really showed me and proved to me that he just can't be a guy that you actually rely on. And that's the way they've been deploying him early on. That's why Stolar's been playing so much too.
Yeah, I mean that was a rough performance. I'm sure he'll be the first to know that. And I was thinking after the game, how much do you put this on a tough goaltending performance? And I agree. I thought there's 3, maybe 4 that would get turned aside from Woll or Stolars that
Yeah.
weren't. And then all of a sudden you're in that game, and we could be talking about getting winning 4-3 in a shootout or something. And although it wasn't a very pretty performance, there's work to do, but they did enough to get you could be having that conversation. I don't think they deserve to be having that conversation, but yeah, it certainly didn't help. I was kind of, I don't want to say I was confused, but I was wondering, like, you got Hildeby back there, who is shown to
Mm-hmm.
be, decent and capable as we've seen Primo. I guess maybe they were hoping he was a notch above than putting Hildeby in that situation. But after last night, I'm kind of thinking it wouldn't have been a whole lot different to give Hildeby that opportunity.
No.
But 100%, he just, I don't. It's a lot to ask out of a guy, but you ask a lot out of certain athletes sometimes, and they step up and they show that they're cut from that cloth, and it's a way to go, and you put yourself up a notch or 2 in everybody's books, and had your stock rise. That hasn't really happened with Primo. I'm hoping we're seeing the end of needing to use a Primo, because Woll, I'd like to see him in the net. Obviously, everybody would, for more reasons
Yeah.
than one. But yeah, between the play of the players in front of him and his ability to stop the puck last night, it all added up to a kind of a gross look on the score sheet after the game. And I imagine he might need to get into another one
Mm-hmm.
before his time with the Leafs is done. So maybe he can pull out a good performance and bounce back. But the longer we have to rely on the goaltenders that probably aren't up to snuff for this level of hockey, the more difficult it's going to be to climb out of this.
By the way, Hildeby's made 4 appearances so far in the AHL, 2.44. He's 2-1-1, a 903 save percentage. But you're right. You have Hildeby there. Why he's so concerned? Why he's so afraid to go to Dennis Hildeby, who has NHL experience? But I'm sorry. I'm out on the Primo front. I will add the shots weren't indicative of the game, 38-24 in favor of the Maple Leafs. But I felt like the Jay Rosehill turning point happened in the second period, because it was 2 Cobb in a hurry. Then the Leafs score, and they're really bringing it. They're giving it to Columbus for the first 8-9 minutes there of the second period. In fact, I'd go as far as to say maybe that was the best the Maple Leafs have looked this season. Like, they were all over them. And then we saw another muffin of the century from Morgan Riley. I love Morgan Riley. I've been the biggest backer and defender of this guy. I'm approaching a point where it's time to give him a night off, if you catch my drift, because
Mhm.
again, this is the most concerning point for me, because I like the fact that you've brought me down a bit today and said, hey, it's October. This is what they do. But it's more concerning that these are the vets who have been around for a long period of time. I'm not as concerned with the other guys that I am Morgan Riley, considering what he's coming off, but unacceptable stuff, what we're seeing from that blue line in general, whether it's him, OEL, or others. Maybe they missed Tanev, but that muffin on the 3-1 goal, I could not believe my eyes.
Yeah, there's been a few of those, and he started out of the gates offensively looking good, and we were hoping that he was going to be a guy that you could really rely on this year, and maybe he will be. But the play as of late, it's just those plays that are hopers, like, oh God, unload it to this area and hope that someone's there to skate onto it, and they're not. And NHL, players jump on those opportunities, the transition game will bite you. And there's been a couple kind of egregious turnovers. And in Morgan Riley's defense, a lot of that is what I spoke about at the beginning of the game. Like positionally, nobody's in the same place twice. There doesn't seem to be a structure of puck support, of entering and exiting with speed. And as a defenseman, the game happens so fast and it is so easy to pick apart from the bird's eye view from the press box or the television. It's easy to see where you should have gone. But when you're out there and you have a quarter of a second less and you don't feel your support and nobody's talking, that's what happens. You unload it into a place and hope that that's going to get it done, because you cannot hold onto the puck any longer, or you're just going to get swarmed and it's going to be in the back of your net anyways. So I think he's a victim of the X's and O's in the system, and the positional play that they're lacking right now. That's his D partner. That's the forwards that are out there. That certainly doesn't help. But, a stud D-man can take that situation and get it to the safe places and not make these egregious turnovers that end up in the back of your net. And Morgan Riley has struggled with that recently. And you're not the only guy calling his play into question and thinking if something needs to be done.
I felt like I was watching Jersey Shore with all the grenades. I was at a point, Rosie, where I could not pick one guy to single out to say I want to bench that guy. Like even Matthias Michelli, dude, like you got to do something, man. Like early on, we're 11 games in, and I was laughing yesterday. Remember all those conversations? Hope this guy gets to 60 points. I think that's a fair barometer. I hope he's a Leaf by December, man. Like he's again, everybody's lost. I hate pinpointing Morgan Riley because again, he's one of my favorite Leafs, has been for a long time. I just love the way that guy conducts himself on and off the ice, but it's soul-searching time, man. It really, really is. And for some reason, this year just feels different. We have this convo every October because they're dog shit every October. It just feels different with this team right now. I know a lot of people in the chat. We're going to get to you in that conversation about the captain, but we're going to do that after our guest today because the captain's a whole other conversation, Rosie. I don't know what else to say about Matthews' display so far this season. You have anything to tease the viewers with before we get to Andy Petrillo?
Yeah, well, I can say that when you're on a team that's struggling, it's usually, it's your stars and it's your leadership that's going to get you out of it. And I'm not seeing a lot of signs of that happening at the moment. Like one gripe I will have is that we used to get on Sheldon Keefe for putting the lines in a blender, man.
Oh,
when you're part of a team and every day you look at the lineup on the whiteboard and it's different every time, and you're looking around for what way does this guy shoot and I'm on left wing, and okay, so oh yeah, he's on his offside. I haven't played with him. Oh shit, why are they doing that? And it's just a recipe for discombobulation. I get you're trying to find some new players, and it is October and it's the beginning of the season. I get you're trying to figure out who works well with who, but when you're struggling to this level, some consistency goes a long way. So guys can start to find patterns that work, and they haven't got the opportunity to do that. So I think that from the players' standpoint, they could probably gripe about that and say, how the hell am I supposed to get things going when I don't know who I'm playing with? And every time I look up, I forget that it's this guy one night, it's that guy the other night. This guy shoots left, this guy shoots right, this guy likes to kind of blow the zone, this guy comes extra low. Like you can't get some semblance of continuity going, and I just don't think that helps. And it's really tough because from a coaching point of view, you feel kind of helpless, and there's only so many things that you can do to invoke change on the game. And one thing is, I'm going to put this guy with this guy. I'm going to get this guy up on this line. I'm going to pull this guy back to here because I think he complements these two guys. And then you feel like you're doing something and being productive. Sometimes you can get too ahead of yourselves with that. And as difficult as it is when they're playing like dog shit, to just set a lineup and sit back and let them try to get their feet under them and get some normalcy going might be the best avenue. And again, it's difficult because you can only do so much, and you're trying to do something. So maybe Chiefs fallen victim to that a little bit, but it's difficult playing when you don't have the same lineup in back-to-back nights.
Yeah, and I mean, that's not an excuse for sure. I think the big thing too with Matthew is just the consistency right now, shift by shift. I mean, he delivered a big check yesterday, but are we celebrating big body checks? Like this guy, bottom line, needs to produce. I mean, there's no way that other to put it when it comes to Austin Matthews. Meantime, as we've been teeing up all program long, just call me Andy. Sports stories from a Trailblazer. So happy to bring in the one and only Andy Petrillo to talk about a new book and obviously dish on the Maple Leafs as well. How's it going, Andy? Congratulations.
I'm great, thank you. I am in lovely Secaucus, New Jersey, so I hope I didn't. I always get worried when I do a hit in a hotel room because when I first walk in, I throw my stuff everywhere. So I just need to make sure my suitcase isn't open and I don't have anything that can be seen in the background. So hopefully it's all kosher right now.
You're good.
Looks like
You're
you got
good,
the
Andy.
suite. They put
A
you
little
up.
bit, a little bit. Look at this. I got a little kitchen back there. You know?
Nice.
Oh, that's my Halloween costume that I'm going to be wearing on the show tonight. You can't really tell what it is. You just have to tune in and figure it out.
Oh,
Okay,
perfect.
okay.
Perfect. Andy,
Yeah.
tell us about this book you're writing. I'm always curious when people write a book and like, what is the process? Like, how do you get it from idea to the finish line?
Yeah, so this is my first book, so I experienced everything for the first time. And I wasn't thinking about it. I basically, a literary agent who has helped a lot of people in this industry write a book, reached out to me and said, "Hey, I've helped all these guys write books, but no woman in Canada in the sports industry has ever written a book. And I think you have a story to share." So he convinced me. And I went, all right, let's see what this is all about. And started writing it. Publisher picked it up, obviously kind of liked what I was writing because I did some sample stories. And what's funny is like a lot of people, as you guys know, like you pick up books and they'll say who it's about, but then they'll say like written by. They have help. Either it's a ghostwriter or it's a full-on author that they give credit to. So I said, okay, now that you've picked up my book, like who's going to be my author? Who's going to help me write this? And it was complimentary, but at the same time, I went, oh my goodness. They went, no, we love your writing. You're going to write your own book. And I went, oh my God, with what time? So I started writing this book in January of 2023, got in my final draft just before the Paris Olympics. So like July, August of 2024. And then it was like a year of editing before they got it out. So almost a 3-year process. And now it's doing, getting the word out that it's out there. So it's amazing that, yeah, you're looking about 2.5, 3 years of me doing this. And it's finally, something that I can get out to people and hopefully they enjoy it, they appreciate, and it resonates with them, right? There's a lot of topics that I cover.
The promotion process, for sure, you're in that right now, as you know, on a daily basis of the book. But I always wonder, like, how do you know what stories to keep in and leave out? Like, what does that process look like?
Like what I chose to write in the book.
Yeah, because I'm sure
Yeah,
there's
so
stuff you didn't include, right?
oh my goodness, yeah. I mean, it's over 20 years of experience, so how I decided what I was going to put in the book was I said to myself, so the book itself is not linear, even though it starts a little bit with a history of me and my family. The stories that I share, the pearls of wisdom that I try to give, it's not linear. It's more topic oriented. And how I decided on that was based on speaking engagements that I have done and continue to do. And I thought to myself, what are the most common questions these young women are asking me, young aspiring journalists in the sports industry? What are they asking me? So based on those questions, I went, okay, this is what seems to matter to people. And then other things that I would bring up, my contemporaries, like, go golfing or just get together for lunch with other women in the industry, I would bring up a topic and say, what would you say about this? And then suddenly it would open up this great discussion. I went, bingo, that's it. That is something that I need to hone in on because it resonates with women in this industry. So a lot of the topics and a lot of the stories that I share are those that I felt people were asking me the most about. So that's how I decided to include those.
Yeah, I imagine it's a difficult process. I think people are looking forward to it. You mentioned your 20-year experience level in the game, and you've seen a lot of hockey, a lot of seasons, a lot of teams. We cover the Leafs every day in a substandard October. What are you seeing out of the Maple Leafs now that we've got about a month of hockey under their belts?
Yeah, someone asked me this the other day too. I was Jody Shelley because he covers the Columbus Blue Jackets, and I think he was just like, "All right, what can we expect here from the Leafs as they come to town to take on the Jackets?" And I went, "Lack of star power." And isn't that strange to say when you've got Austin Matthews and William Nylander and even John Tavares? Although I would say Tavares is still stepping up, and I said that's at least how the team feels. It feels like it's lacking a star. And it feels like it's lacking somebody who's making their hockey interesting. Now, is that a little bit of the fact that we're all kind of caught up in the Jays a bit? And it's like the Leafs have to do something extraordinary to really get our attention? To some people. But to me, I've been watching them and I'm just like, where is that Where's that X factor that made me go, this is a fun team to watch. This is a fast team to watch. And in the beginning, the guy who was giving us the most highlight reels was Anthony Stolarz with all these incredible saves. But on the flip side, people will also tell you a goalie has to make those saves because the plays in front of him not going so hot. So that's how I would kind of say things, is like for a team that has star power, it feels like it's lacking it. And I don't want to sit here and say that it's because of Mitch Marner, he's gone, and like that one piece is allowing everything else to crumble. But I do think that's a factor. I think, someone who is such a dynamic winger, he's gone. Plus you add in the injuries, it doesn't exactly help. It's kind of piling on early on, but I do think Craig Berube is really struggling. I heard you talking about the whole lines and stuff. Like, I think a real big hole, no matter what people think about Mitch Marner, no matter how they feel about him come playoff time, that has left a really big hole in the lineup and in that top line. And that second line, even with Tavares and Nylander, you go back like 5 years, they have not consistently had a left winger with them. So already your second line was always kind of auditioning left wingers. Your first line was always your set line, especially once Matthew Knies came on board. And now that's in flux. And it seems to be a bit of a trickle down effect. And then you add in the injuries and you get a really lackluster, lack of star power kind of feeling to the start of the season.
5-5-1 in the month of October. What concerns you the most about what we've seen so far in the start? Like I've been saying, for me, it's the goaltending. Stolarz hasn't been anywhere close to the guy we saw last year. We know Primo's an AHL guy, and I think Joseph Woll's return will be massive. But is there one single thing that sticks out for you where it's like, I'm really concerned about that?
I mean, I've been watching a lot of other teams now, and obviously, tonight, this is, why I'm in Jersey, right? Every Thursday we do Coast to Coast where we watch all the games and we hop around. And the amount of creativity and just speed and it's not, and then clinically finishing from all these other teams, like that's what the Leafs are not doing. So I know defense wins the games, and you're right. Like Anthony Stolarz is coming off a year where he played the most he's ever played. Same with Joseph Woll, and you always wonder how that's going to translate into the second season now that other teams have kind of figured you out, right? No different than out in Calgary. Dustin Wolf, was in the Calder Trophy conversation, but now he's having an okay year because players figure you out. They watch tape on you, and there's now enough of Anthony Stolarz tape from last year. So how does he figure that out now that other teams and players and shooters have figured him out? I get all that from the goalie and the defense side of things. But for me, it's like when certain players are on the ice where you could just rely on them creating something, generating something, I'm like, I don't feel that anymore. I don't get excited anymore. Like, and I think that's what needs to change. Even look, some of these goals, like I get it. They don't ask you how, they ask you how many, but they haven't been pretty goals either that they've been scoring. So to me, I think there's a real problem when you're not finishing on the other side of the ice. And that's the part that concerns me a little bit, right? Who's creating those plays? Who's creating that offense? And when you juxtapose it with other teams, guys, the Montreal Canadiens are fun to watch. They're so fun. And they're finishing. And, yes, Dobish is playing great, but Sam Montembeault, who's their number one, isn't. But it doesn't matter. Cole Caulfield, Nick Suzuki, like you name it. These guys are just finding ways to never quit. And I don't get that sense with the Leafs. It's kind of like, ho-hum, we just let in about 3 or 4 goals, and I don't know if we can score enough to beat the other team. So for me, it's a little bit of the offense that I'm concerned about.
And Andy, some people have said, we've seen the regular season success. It just doesn't translate to the playoffs. Let's kind of make a change in this team, yes, we'll sacrifice some regular season success, but if they can find an identity and play like a team that is able to win more playoff style of games, then we would do that. Do you think they're in the middle of that process, or do you think there's bigger problems ahead?
Maybe, and I feel like they can only answer that. You know, Craig Berube can only answer that if he's really trying to get them to play a different system. But I don't think so. What started off well, so when you say playoff hockey, okay, so they started to get some contribution offensively from their defense. That was something that really lacked in the regular season, picked up a bit in the playoffs last year, but that's pretty key. But then that's kind of fallen by the wayside. Like they're getting nothing from the defense. And correct me if I'm wrong, Columbus's defense destroyed them last night, right? So like you're not getting that, but is that necessarily because the coach is implementing a new system? No, I just think you're not getting anything from your defense. I don't know. I think this is a team that for some reason, the pieces there, like the guess that we're all guessing here. Like I'm guessing again, that Mitch Marner is gone. The injuries don't help. And I feel like this is a team that is trying to figure out who they are without those players in the lineup. And if what you're saying is like, okay, well, maybe they're trying to figure out a way to win in the playoffs. I would believe that if they were grinding out 1-0 or 2-1 wins, or even if they were losing by that 1-0 or 2-1 losses, because then you're like, okay, they're in it. They seem to be a little bit more of a focus on defense. But those aren't exactly the score lines either, right? So I have a tough time believing that what they're doing right now is prepping them for the playoffs. I just think they're outright getting outplayed.
Look, I'll put it this way. If we're having the same conversations in 2 to 3 weeks from now, I think this team's in big time trouble. I think November is big for this team. It has been for the last couple of years. And I would say the saving grace too, it's been an ass backwards division thus far, right? Like, pardon the term, but like Detroit, Montreal, like the teams we thought were legit are actually like Florida's in trouble right now. Tampa's riled off a couple in a row here, but it's been a weird start to the Atlantic, eh?
A little bit. I mean, and you're right though. I think, obviously it's our job. We get on TV immediately when the season starts and we're supposed to be having these conversations, but you're not wrong in saying that in 2-3 weeks, if they're still in this position, well, now it's a trend. Now it's something that becomes worrisome because like we always say, beginning of the year, defense is usually the thing that takes the longest for each team to figure out. So high scoring games, a lot of goals are given up and it's a little bit of a mess. And maybe there's, it's a little bit skewed in the beginning. But you have to give credit to some of these teams that are coming out and playing strong. And something that I learned early on is, teams would say you can't win the Stanley Cup in October and November, but you can do things that can lose it for you. So credit to the teams who are playing out of their skin right now and giving themselves that cushion come the new year, where if they have a bit of a lull, well, they banked all these points early on. So, I give credit to Montreal where, they've picked up right where they left off last year and making the playoffs. Not so much the case for Ottawa. They made the playoffs last year. Kind of faltered coming out of the gate, which prompted, David Perron to say, every year you've got to find your identity all over again. Doesn't matter what you did last year, right? So they're trying to turn things around, obviously, with their captain out of the lineup. Detroit right now sitting pretty in second. We'll see how long that lasts too. But again, this is a team on paper that actually should be in that position when you look at it that way, given, what they've been able to bring on the blue line and obviously some of the adjustments that they've made up front. They should be in this position. Let's see if they can hold on to it. And as for Florida, I do worry about them a little bit because you can ride on fumes and emotions like, oh my goodness, Barkov is out, right? Oh my goodness, Tkachuk is out. And you just like all rise to the occasion, but that can be really tiring. And you just wonder if those injuries and the holes that they leave in the lineup will eventually catch up to them. But I don't know. I mean, it really stinks that the Leafs are faltering during a time where the other teams are figuring it out, right? So, I mean, they gotta, again, 2-3 weeks, maybe we're having a different conversation, and I hope so for the Leafs' sake, but right now it's kind of not looking good.
Tell you what, they got a couple of nights to go out here for Halloween. Just get out of your system, and hopefully they all dress as Casper the Ghost, because that's what it's been so far through the first month of the season. Once again, congratulations. Thank you so much for your time today. Have a great broadcast tonight, okay?
All right, thanks, guys.
Thanks, Andy.
Anytime. That is Andy Petrillo. Check out our new book, Just Call Me Andy, Sports Stories from a Trailblazer. Was that too harsh to say Casper the Ghost costumes, Rosie? What are you dressing up as?
I don't know. I'm just trying to get the projectors set up on the driveway.
Dude,
be honest,
imagine
so
the conversations, and you can live this. You're a dad. The conversations, Halloween, Friday night, and the Toronto Blue Jays going for a World Series. How does that conversation go with the kids? Like, do you still go out with them?
Yeah, so we usually host, and I get a fire pit going on the driveway, and we're gonna get a projector hanging on a sheet so the folks can watch the ball game. And my kids are old enough now where it's not like super cute and exciting, so they can go off in the neighborhood and do their trick or treat, and I'll be beside the fire watching the ball game. So I don't really think too much about costumes or anything. I got other plans going on, but no, I don't think it was too harsh. And I think Andy had some good points too. One other thing that she kind of mentioned at the end is that it sucks that the Leafs aren't making hay while there's opportunity to get a bit of a stranglehold on the division. I don't know.
Do you care about the division? I don't.
It's just it's a measuring stick on where you're going. And I love having points packed on behind you for a period of injuries or a period of whatever. So to get behind the 8 ball early, it's not ideal. It's, again, not the end of the world. I think that's why we haven't talked about it. But imagine they came out of the gates a little hotter, and Austin had one of the hottest starts that he's had since he had kind of an off season last year, and now he's supposed to be healthy. And we were rattling off wins, and all of a sudden you have this 6-point cushion over some guys that it's probably going to be needed down the road. That would be nice, but they're not. And it's just another layer of shit. But again, October, let's figure out what November looks like 3 weeks, and see if they change this around. Again, like at the start of the show, I said, I think that their problems that they're having, they're not impossible to fix, not even close. So I hope it's one of those scenarios where we look back at Christmas and go, remember their start? They were everywhere. They were all looked like they didn't even really give a shit, but they knew what they were doing. They got their ducks in a row. Things are in order now, and away we go, and we feel like we have a real good chance to win every single night. That's very possible. It's happened in the past.
Couple more notes. Credit to Dean Evison, because watching that JT goal, I'm like, are they really, really going to challenge this? They didn't, because it was 6-1, and thankfully they didn't. JT gets number 500, 49th player in NHL history to hit that milestone. Wrong night to do it, but you're going to get that opportunity. You're going to score and cash, and a great pass by Nyes. But that's like the silver lining on just an embarrassing loss, man. That number 500 goes in there for JT.
Dude, I wish he did challenge it, and I wish it was offside. Give that back. Get it on a different night where it's a little more special. Obviously, it's a personal accolade, but that does not look like the 500th goal in a person's
It ain't Sundins, I'll tell you that.
Only 48 people ahead of him in the 100-plus years of the NHL have been able to do that, and that's your reaction to that accomplishment. I would have called it offside and said, let's try this another day where the mood isn't so dark, because that's as memorable as that goal is, that is kind of a forgettable one, to be honest with you. I wish they did challenge.
And fuck, right after he got Berube patting him on the shoulder, it's like, dude, you're getting shellacked in Columbus, and you've got to go down to your former captain and say, hooray, great job for number 500. Nevertheless, congrats to JT, consummate pro. Steven Lorentz leaves that game after 2 upper body injury. Just pretty much a nutshell, an embodiment of what that game was. Smashes into the boards. CBJ comes the other way on like a 4-on-1. They tuck. It's Dante Fabro. The crazy thing for me, it wasn't like their star players who burned them. It was your boy Matthew Olivier had himself a night. It was Cole Sillinger, Tate McRae's ex. Everybody was on the Fantilli goal, I feel, with you. Even the Werenski goal I wasn't crazy about. But again, getting back to the Primo conversation, they've been hanging their goalies out to dry all season long. I'm not giving Primo a pass. He wasn't great in the game, but from a defensive standpoint, they got to lock in here. And the last point I'll make, Rosie, if Nylander can't play Saturday, I will start to get really, really concerned, because we watched a team last night that was lacking star power and lacks some jam and some energy. And Nylander's at a point where I could almost consider him the best player on the team. I don't know if it's a shot at the captain, but I think pound for pound, Nylander's the best player on this team right now. Like, it just, you really notice when Nylander's not playing.
Yeah, he has been their best player. Like, it's just not, there's no hiding from it. He has been their best player. Austin Matthews has not been at all. There's times, many nights where Matthew Knies looks better than Matthews. I don't know what's going on with him. He hasn't been that guy that we know with the trophies on his case all of last year and now all of the short period of this year. So, like, is something up or what's up? You know, like, what is going on? Where is your stuff? Like, he's throwing hopers at the net from the blue line that get deflected into the netting up top. It's like, fuck, how'd that stay out? Like, what are you doing? Like, that's the shit that I tell my U13s not to do, because there's just no chance of it. Like, and that's what that guy's doing. He's one of the best goal scorers ever. And, you know, people are going to start, as this continues, if it continues, what is this guy doing? And what's going on? We know, again, this isn't like a Jonathan Chichu situation where you
Good
just
reference.
get hot one year and then it's cut in half, no longer in the league.
Shows your age a bit too, I'll be honest.
Yeah, I know. Well, that goes back a while, but I always go, how does a guy's goal production go down that much that fast? I'm not saying that's the case with Austin Matthews, but we know what you're capable of, and you're not even close to that. So what is the problem? And that sentiment is going to get louder and louder. I don't want everyone to start turning on him. I don't want to start calling for this, that, and the other thing to happen. I just want him to start playing up to his abilities. And in the meantime, while he's not, I question why he's not able to. And, you know, sometimes I'm like, why don't you do something different tonight? Like, why don't you go out there and play with a vigor that you didn't last night, to just to try to break something loose? Why don't you get out of your comfort zone a little bit? Why don't you get pissed off? Why don't you get pissed off? That's one thing I get a little annoyed.
Yeah.
Like, he's got the same look on his face, like Game 7 loss, heartbreaking, a blowout, this, that, or the other thing, same. Like, show me some fucking emotion is what I'm looking for from the whole team.
Yeah, I mean, to your point, and it's not like Matthews or Nylander or any of these guys are those types of guys, but just lose your shit, shed your shit, just start throwing them. Like, and that's what I think is cooking a lot of people early on, is they look like a team that don't want to be there. Like last night watching that game, they look like they are a team that would be rather watching the Blue Jays game, which is concerning, because going into the year, I'd placed this team as a cup contender. Granted, it's October. It's a long season. You can speak to that, but there's no juice. You know, we've talked a lot this week about Nathan MacKinnon fighting Charlie McAvoy last weekend and then frothing the other night against New Jersey. And just now, McKinnon's a guy we're talking about for the Rocket Richard this year. Like, every game, you never question his will to win, his compete level. And honestly, I can't say the same right now. But as I mentioned throughout this week, it's tough for me to scrutinize Matthews because I have no clue what the hell's going on behind the scenes. All I can say is he has not been the same guy in 1.5 years now. So I think, to add to your point too, is like, it's easy to start calling out Matthews, but this is a team thing. I can't pinpoint one player and say, hey, they've been exceptional. They've all been dog shit in October.
But that's the thing, like, when that's happening, how do teams get out of it? And what is the change that starts the chain reaction of everyone getting back on board with where they need to be and climb out of that rut? It's usually your leadership, or a guy that visually and notably does something that's kind of out of the ordinary, or out of what he would normally do in his day-to-day business. Like you mentioned with a Nathan MacKinnon, there's a guy who's like, I will take this to the freaking moon to get out of this rut. And you see it. you watch him do it, and then there's no excuses for anybody else. It is palpable. You can feel it, and it's also contagious. Like, it rubs off on other people. And oh my God, did you just see that shift from get me? I'm up next, and away you go. And I see none of that. I see flatness, and I don't see emotion. I don't see heart. Like, heart. Show me a heartbeat. Like, show me that you have that, and I can continue defending you, right? I'm not burning the boats, and I think they can climb this out, and they might flip the switch as fast as anyone could predict. But as long as you're not doing that yet, I am going to want to see some heart and the willingness to do anything to change it, and to let everyone know that you above all do not accept this. And I again, like you say, I don't see that. The look on their face, their body language, their effort level, their energy level, their compete level, it's not doing it for me. And I think it's part of the reason why they've had the October that they have. Things need to change. And again, I don't think any savior is coming in to swing in and swoop in and fix it. I do not think it is a lack of Mitch Marner that has
No.
led them to play this way. It's going to be from that room. Someone has to do something different. Someone has to show some goddamn heart to get these guys on page. And it can't be Craig Berube with his heart and passion and emotion. He's going to try that, lose his shit, bag skate the hell out of them, start throwing garbage cans around. Like, sometimes you got to wake the guys up doing that kind of thing, but it shouldn't have to be. It should be coming from the leadership.
At the Leafs Nation 401, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Final a couple minutes here on the show, but not to add too much weight to the game in Philadelphia, but that I think will be a telltale sign of where this team's at, how they respond after a game like this, where it's a complete no-show in Columbus. There's a possibility Chris Tanev could be back, possibility even that Scotty Lawton, who is a longtime Flyer, could be back in the lineup. We're approaching put up or shut up time. We're approaching a barometer where it's like 15, 20 games where like the trends start to stick out, as Andy brought up, the themes. We start to figure out what this team truly is. So we'll find out over the next little while. It's time now for the last call, brought to you by Bet365. Whatever your bet is, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Download the app and get in the game. Use code NATION. That's NATION, NATION. Must be 19 or older. Ontario only. Please play responsibly. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, visit connexontario.ca. I like St. Louis, Vancouver over tonight. I like Todd McClellan revenge as well. Detroit into Los Angeles. I'm going to play the Red Wings money line in that game. So I got two of them today.
Ooh, I like he. Stands out to me is the value on the Buffalo-Boston game. As producer Vic mentioned, one team's going one direction, the other is going the other. I'm going to take Buffalo on the puck line this morning. That was at plus 220. Ooh, a nice little double up and then some. So that's my play for tonight. And it's not like there's a whole lot else going out. No Leafs game, no Jays game, a little bit of a breather. And I love that they're playing Friday on Halloween, and I don't know if it's going to go 7 or not, but yeah, as you mentioned, big game in Philadelphia for the boys on Saturday. I hope Scotty Lotz can get back in soon. I really think that'll stabilize.
Is one practice enough, though?
No, it is not. I don't think he will be. I think we mentioned earlier in the week he might play, and I was just like, yikes. But desperate times do call for desperate measures. It depends how much he's been skating on his own and how strong it is. Maybe one practice is enough, and maybe they're just going, "Hey, are you good to go? Because we need you." Not sure. I guess we'll find out. But inevitably, when Scott Lawton does get back in, whether it's in Philly or not, I think that could stabilize the lineup. As far as the shuffling and dicking around goes, let's get some consistency going in with our lineup here and get these guys figuring out how to play together.
Michael-OF6CW writes, and sorry guys, we're going to unsubscribe your pod until you guys become intelligent and not too boring about your views of our Leafs. See you later, Michael. Bye-bye.
Mikey boy, you can start one up yourself, buddy. I'm sure they'll come in droves. even create an account with a name and all the rest of it to say that, like, just hit the unsubscribe
It's got the dash
button.
and the 6 and the
Dickhead.
F and the CW. What the hell's going on? I don't know if that's going to work in terms of the algorithm here on YouTube, but we love all of you. It's tough times. That's the month of October. We got Halloween coming up tomorrow, Rosie. And I had to summon one of the best to get us out of our funk, okay? First time guest ever here on Leafs Morning Take. The legendary Joe Bowen's going to drop by tomorrow. Holy Mackinac.
Yeah, boys. He's on his he's already on his farewell tour. I like it when guys know what they're doing. I'm retiring after this year, and then everyone can kind of soak it in, and he can kind of have a victory lap type of thing. But yeah, long time dude. It'll be good to talk to him again in that iconic voice. That is good. I just found out about
Yes,
that.
sir. Yes, sir. Joe
Love it.
Bowen coming up tomorrow at the Leafs Nation 401. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Leafs Morning Take wherever you find your podcast. Make sure to leave us a 5-star review. See you later, Michael. Thank you for watching this show over the years. Appreciate your time.
Smell you
And
later.
theleafsnation.com. Check it out. The boys over there doing some excellent work as well. Thank you to Andy Petrillo for dropping by. Make sure you check out her new book, Just Call Me Andy, Sports Stories from a Trailblazer. Thank you to producer Vic for Jay Rosal. I'm Nick Alberga, back on Friday to tee up Game 6 of the World Series. Also the Leafs weekend coming up. Don't go anywhere. See you later, guys. Make sure to check out more of our content right here on the Leafs Nation YouTube page. We got long-form interviews. We got clips. We got epic rants by Jay Rosal. We simply have it all. And don't forget, you can find out much more at theleafsnation.com. Thanks so much for watching.